Hello there. Welcome back to the booth here at Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe. I'm here with Paul Cheon, and oh boy, we got a chance to watch two different players draft, a recorded and a live. We've got both of them in the feature match area. We also got to watch some of both of their matches in round one, and they brought us some really exciting moments, and now we get to see them clash. We've got Kentaro Yamamoto versus Mike Sigrist for round two right now. Hello and welcome to coverage of Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Cheon. Hi, Paul.
Hello.
We've got round two action. This is booster draft, and oh boy, do we have a nice one. We've actually got our two featured drafters for those of you watching live. We've got Kentaro Yamamoto from Japan. He plays for Team Musashi, and he won his first round, of course. He's playing up against Mike Sigrist from the United States. He's on Team Channel Fireball Ice, and these are two of the premier teams in the field, and they are just about ready to battle here. Let's take a look at game number one here. Paul, what do you expect matchup-wise from these two?
Well, Mike is almost always going to be the aggressor. He's drafting kind of the traditional red-green aggressive deck, but he has a lot of great top-end cards. Again, he first picked Samut in the second pack and Samut in the last pack as well. So he's got both the Planeswalker and the Legendary Mythic. And Kentaro, a little bit more on the defensive end. He's got some really nice top-end cards. He's got multiple copies of Decimator Beetle along with Archfiend of Ifnir, which opened in the last pack. And Mike Sigrist, not a lot of ways to deal with the Archfiend once it enters a battlefield.
So Sigrist already off to a good start here with an Initiate's Companion on turn 2, but Yamamoto on the play has played a Sidewinder Naga. And this is an interesting little tell here for Yamamoto. Sigrist plays his Harrier Naga first, signifying that he might have something to do with that one mana that he could unlock if that Initiate's Companion actually connects.
Although it's pretty unlikely. And did Mike just not untap something? Okay.
He's thinking.
And he says, I was like, there's no way Mike misses this.
Right. And he's like, oh, fine. I didn't have anything. I'll just untap my creature.
Yeah.
I mean, it could have been pretty bad if Mike goes untap my Mountain Magma Spray, you know?
Yeah, it definitely could have.
He would have, of course.
Although if he had that, he would have likely just Magma Sprayed the creature pre-combat.
It's possible.
Attack, untap the land, then play Harrier Naga, and it just gives him a really nice board presence.
Well, he has that board presence as it sits. And there's a Wretched Camel now for Yamamoto. There's no desert currently, but as you know, cards like Wretched Camel do count deserts in the graveyard. And that means that Yamamoto could cycle, for example, a Desert of the Glorified.
Yeah,
and turn that on.
And Kentaro, leaving up to 2 mana, and although deserts do cycle, so this could just be kind of like a double combat trick here if he did opt to cycle. And as I mentioned earlier, Mike Sigrist, not a lot of answers to a Resolve the Archfiend of Ifnir, and Kentaro has it in his hand.
He's also got Decimator Beetle as well, and Kentaro says, you know what, let's just trade. And all of that happens. So what's the follow-up play here for Sigrist? Well, it's a Frontline Devastator.
Just a 3/3, and Kentaro currently on the Archfiend needs a 5th land, and he draws it. And I can't imagine him...
Was that for me, Greg?
Okay. So yeah.
So does he just play it out first, or does he play the Decimator Beetle?
He could play either. He has to figure out, like, is Mike Sigrist likely to have something like an Ambuscade or Electrify? Those are cards he could very easily have. So you might want to play conservatively, put the 3/4 onto the battlefield here, and
well, let's see what Sigrist has in his hand. Does he have one of those cards?
Well, he did not draft any of those cards,
and he certainly doesn't have them.
And he definitely does not.
Wow. First things first, though, Sigrist is going to offer the trade here. Frontline Devastator is going to hit the red zone. And Kentaro could block and make Sigrist use up some mana, but he would lose his Decimator Beetle, so he's just going to take the damage.
Yeah. It's not a lot of damage there either, so...
Yeah. He's down to 14, but Sigrist with a nice follow-up play here with Manticore Eternal.
So... Earlier in Kentaro's draft, we did see Kentaro drafting a Desert's Hold, and it does look like he is opting to splash for the card. One really interesting card that he's splashing that I did not expect, Saving Grace. He opted not to play a Harrier Naga just so that he can splash the Saving Grace. Maybe he just really, really wanted a trick, or he values that card very highly.
Goodness sakes, there's that Plains, though, for Yamamoto. And he's got a decision to make here, as Sigrist has put up a lot of power and toughness over the last 2 turns.
Right. And one thing that I think he's really considering here, he's got 6 mana up, he's got the Archfiend, and he has the Saving Grace in his hand. So he might want to wait till he has 7 mana, because keeping up the Saving Grace means he has a much better chance of being able to protect the Archfiend of Ifnir once he hits, of course, the 7 mana.
Wow, he's going to take a thumping here, though, isn't he?
He can, but he does have a Spidery Grasp in hand here.
Ah, I
And there's
see.
not a lot of instant speed ways. I guess Ambuscade is the only card that Mike could punish Kentaro for doing that. But I imagine he's just going to go for it here and be like, if you got the Ambuscade, you got the Ambuscade. But I'm going to have, what is that, a 6/9 Decimator Beetle?
Yeah, bigger than anything Sigrist has, that's for sure. Now, Afflict is still going to trigger here.
Right.
And then Yamamoto is going to take 2 unless Mike wants to pump some mana in. And it looks like he might actually do that to make it 3.
Yeah.
And then he's got Mouth to follow up.
Yeah, so
Now, that worked out well for Yamamoto. Like you said, there was some risk he took on there, but he was able to resolve his spell, and it worked out just fine. And there's Mouth from Sigrist.
yeah, and he just really wants to protect that Archfiend of Ifnir. And, worst case scenario, he can use that Saving Grace in case, we know Mike Sigrist has cards like Inferno Jet. Saving Grace can prevent, you can use Saving Grace as a fog effect to prevent dying from the Inferno Jet. One cool thing that Mike Sigrist can do on the following turn is pump up his Frontline Devastator, make it into a 3-power creature, then play Feed to make sure he draws 2 cards.
Yamamoto kind of hoping to draw a land there. Didn't find it, but he did find a Tenacious Hunter off the top of his library.
That's a great draw. Huge creature, and again, he's got that Saving Grace in his hand. The question is, does he want to attack with the Decimator Beetle? Because 2 more attacks means he gets to get that Frontline Devastator for free.
That's right. And he is hitting Mike pretty hard here. I mean,
Yeah.
Sigrist is going to fall down to 12, and he's got the Hunter to follow up with Saving Grace as backup as well.
So it's got 2 counters on it, right?
Yeah,
Okay.
2.
Yeah.
There we
Right. One really nice thing there as well is the Tenacious Hunter currently has Vigilance as there are counters on the Frontline Devastator.
Yeah, he gets Death Touch, too.
Yeah. And does Mike Sigrist have a combat trick in his hand? Take a look here. All right, so he's got a Kindled Fury here, so he can just opt to attack into the Tenacious Hunter, assuming Kentaro Yamamoto doesn't have a combat trick here. Kentaro has got a lot of meat on the board here. Mike might just need to be aggressive and just hope that Kentaro doesn't have anything. Not a lot of great options here. Kentaro's creatures are just so beefy. And the beefiest one of them yet.
Mike doesn't
in his
mind.
hand.
He's just going to jam.
Right.
He's got a Kindled Fury that he can use to take down this Tenacious Hunter.
Yeah, and this Saving Grace is going to be awesome.
Yeah, so what's going to actually happen here? Because that is still a decent amount of damage if he goes for the Saving Grace. Let's see, can he just soak up all of it? Remember, the creature gets +0/+3 as well.
Right, but all damage that will be dealt to you or permanent you control is dealt to the enchanted permanent. What Kentaro can actually opt to do is play the Saving Grace on his Decimator Beetle, giving it 8 toughness.
Okay.
And all the damage that would be dealt to any of Kentaro's Kentaro or any of his creatures will be redirected to the Decimator Beetle.
So is that enough? So it's 4, 5, 6, 7. Oh,
yes,
it's
it saves
one
it
short.
entirely.
You know what's crazy? If Sigrist had another mountain rather than another forest, he could have actually done it.
Right.
Oh.
Okay, so he's going to put it there instead.
Now does that mean though that his Tenacious Hunter's still dying?
Yes.
But Sigrist does have to pump in a bunch of mana.
Right. He has to pump the Frontline Devastator twice, which
is 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, right?
Right. Kentaro will stay at 8 life here.
Well, this isn't as bad though, right? For Sigrist, just because he will get to kill the Tenacious Hunter.
He'll get the
anyway.
Tenacious Hunter and the Saving Grace.
Right.
This is
Now
interesting.
Kentaro takes no damage this turn.
Right.
Huh. I wonder if I just would have put it on the Beetle there.
Yeah. That seemed like it might have been better, but it's Kentaro, so
Yeah.
yeah. Given the benefit of the doubt here. Yeah.
You think Kentaro's still ahead here, Paul?
We're going to go with massively ahead.
Okay. Oh, man. Yeah, even with losing the Tenacious Hunter and the Saving Grace there.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is just a savaging now. And there it is. He had the choice between Decimator Beetle number 2 or Archfiend of Ifnir.
Yeah,
Either
there's
way,
just no
there's a
coming
lot of counters going on Mike Sigrist's creatures, and that will do it. Kentaro Yamamoto takes down game number 1 from Mike Sigrist in impressive fashion. He just sort of worked his way through, utilized a combat trick, and then another, I don't know how you want to describe Saving Grace, but that type of effect, and he got the job done. We're going to have more live Magic here from Kyoto after these messages.
Looking for a place to hang out and play Magic? Head to your local game store this and every Friday to play Friday Night Magic events. Get more info at magic.wizards.com/FNM.
Welcome back to the feature match area here in Kyoto. We're here for a Pro Tour Hour of Devastation. I'm Marshall Sutcliffe in the booth with Paul Chion. Let's take a look at the developments on Sam Black versus Travis Wu.
Wait, where's the swamp? I don't see the swamp.
I'm going to say that Sam Black went a little deep this draft. That's 2 Manaliths on the battlefield. He also has 2 copies of Sunset Pyramid, getting the value train rolling.
Oh, my goodness.
He also has a God Pharaoh's Faithful. And yes, your eyes do not deceive you. That is, in fact, a Wrath of God in his graveyard.
Wrath of God?
Yeah, it's an invocation.
That's a Wrath of God?
Like
oh, my
actual
goodness.
Wrath of God.
That is insanity. Wow. He's just living the dream.
Black, everybody. Man, unbelievable.
So apparently Sam Black just drafted hoping that he would open a sweeper in the last pack.
In the last pack, there's not that many sweepers around.
Well, Wrath of God.
Wow, I guess he did it.
Yeah.
And unfortunately for Travis Wu, his only play here is a frilled Sandwalla, which looks a little underpowered compared to what Sam has going
Sam's
on.
got a lot of action going on here. With all the mana that he has, with the double Sunset Pyramid, I just can't imagine.
I mean, he just unbricked
and he
two
got
of
the
them.
combo.
What did he get?
You know what the combo? Ramunap Excavator with
Yeah.
Evolving Wilds.
To just thin out his library?
He's not going to have any lands left.
So explain what happens with that.
So Ramunap Excavator allows you to play a land from your graveyard every single turn.
Right.
With Evolving Wilds, you play the Evolving Wilds, sack it, and then you can just use that. You can just use that as your land drop every single turn. So you can thin out your deck and just make sure you have no lands left in your deck. It also works well with he also has a Grasping Dunes that he just played, which you
Yeah.
can use to rebuy to finish off some creatures. This,
Oh my
this is crazy. Like, I don't even know how I would begin to try to draft this deck. He's got a blue, white, and red-green card in his hand.
Look at his mana base. Double Manalith. Yeah, Sam has gone super deep here.
Wow.
Now, I will tell you, by the way, this is game 2. Travis Wu won a quick game 1 off of Sam when Sam failed to develop his mana base. He only had 2 or 3 lands that game. So
Yeah.
that's how that.
Ooh, greatest sandworm.
How about the greatest of sandworms off the top here for black?
So, Travis, the Vizier of Remedies, not completely irrelevant here because it does prevent Sam from being able to use the Grasping Dunes to take out any of Travis's creatures.
Yeah, it's pretty close to irrelevant.
Right. This is just insanity.
Now, that's the excavator right there, right?
Right.
Now, Sam was looking at the Grasping Dunes, but I think he just realized, well, Vizier kind of makes that less good, but I might as well play it.
Yeah.
Although he could have played the Evolving Wilds instead if he
That is interesting because he has access to 6 mana currently. And he has a farm to market, I believe, in his hand. So he could have used farm to market and also used the scry ability on the Sunset Pyramid.
What is Travis playing?
I'm guessing he tapped 5 mana. Is this Overcome?
That absolutely could
It
be.
feels like an Overcome. It's like, I got this. Oh,
It is Overcome. And it looks like
an Appeal to Authority?
he had authority in his graveyard to tap down 2 creatures.
Oh, he's got...
Struggle to survive for Sam. So Sam's going to cast Struggle to kill the Vizier. That is not going to be lethal.
Wow.
Oh, and there's a farm as well.
And so this explains why he opted to play the Grasping Dunes.
I have never seen somebody cast Struggle and farm in the same turn, but here we are.
To be fair, both of those cards are just good enough on the red and white side that you don't actually need the Aftermath effect, but wow.
I think Travis is looking at his sideboard.
Yeah, he's like, okay, do I have any maybe shatter effects in the sideboard, ways to kill artifacts?
Yeah, that was Travis's big, that was his big stand there. Because he actually has a desert in his hand that he can use to turn on the wall and try to chip Sam down. That was his game plan. But that wasn't going to happen because of Sam's multiple removal spells. All right, why don't we head back over to our main match? Don't worry, kiddos. We will keep a close eye on Sam Black versus Travis Wu and see which one. Is it going to be extreme value or a good curve?
Travis also won his first round, right? So he's still currently the leader for Draft Master.
Yes, that is true, and something we're going to be keeping an eye on as we work our way through. Draft Master up for grabs, but it's Travis's to lose. If he does not lose a match, he will be our Draft Master, and that's going to do it for him. Ooh, Ronus is... Hey, Kentaro.
Exerted lands, that's great.
Yeah, that is great, but remember, Kentaro had a chance to take Ronus's last stand, turned it down, it made its way to Sigrist, and now, oh boy, that thing could be responsible for a lot of damage. I'll remind you, Kentaro, the biggest weakness in his deck is removal. Lethal Sting is about the only thing he has, in the early stages that can actually kill a creature like this. So I think that there's a decent chance that this
2/5/4.
This snake might go the distance.
Oh, what is this? Oh,
wow, Bloodlust Insider for Sigrist as well.
Amazing start out of Mike.
Oh, yeah. So this is really going to be a big question for Kentaro. Can he, A, get a couple of creatures out that can block, or B, find his Lethal Sting to kill that 5/4? Because that thing is going to do 10 to 15 damage this game if left unchecked.
Yeah, one of the few ways that Kentaro can deal with the Ronus's Last Stand token is, of course, Desert's Hold, but it doesn't look like he has it in his hand.
That's right. He needs that and a white mana source. He's splashing for that removal spell as well. Another good option for him if he can find it.
Yeah, let's see what Kentaro is actually working with here.
Well, not a lot. And this is the problem here. He's got an Ornery Kudu, which is a fine Magic card, but it is not on the level of Ronus's Last Stand. And here is Harrier Naga with haste.
Wow.
Take 8, and now Sigrist has presented a 2-turn clock, Paul.
Kentaro's already down to 7.
Wow.
He needs a really big follow-up here. Desert's Hold off the top would be great, because as he is holding up Plains in his hand, but...
Yep. But he didn't find it. Instead, he found the Camel. So
just the Camel.
Right. So now he has finally set up a board at least that could double block the token. The problem is that he has to deal with whatever else Sigrist plays as well.
Sigrist did miss a land drop, so Kentaro's hope here is that Sigrist's hands is kind of just cluttered with a bunch of 4 and 5 drops that he can't cast. Yes, but this is a huge turn. And Kentaro does have the Gift of Paradise here, meaning that he can play the gift into the Camel
So let's see. Does Sigrist actually have a bunch of 4 and 5s?
Well, he's got A4 and A5, but he also has a Ronus to Stalwart that he can play as well.
Right. So he's got a good play next turn no matter what.
Right. And that Stalwart, if you exert it, Kentaro won't actually be able to block.
So what is Kentaro saving the mana for here? Let's take a look at his hand. Because he could have played Aronis' Stalwart, but instead he's going to play Gift of Strength, it looks like.
Yeah, it looks like he's got the Gift.
Land off the top for Sigrist. He gets to actually shrink down the Ornery Kudu and, of course, attack in with his new 4/3 Camel.
That's just lethal, right? Kentaro is currently at 7. He can block the biggest creature, which is the 5/4, and he'll still take 7.
Holy smokes.
Wow.
Was that a turn 5 kill for Sigrist?
It was.
In limited?
Turn 2 Ronus' last 10 will get the job done.
That's fine. Take 8. Oh, he is at 10, though.
Oh, 3 life off the Gift.
Right.
Okay.
So it will be next turn, but it is unlikely.
Yeah. Ooh.
He found Saving Grace. Does
That'll
that actually buy him a
time.
turn?
Absolutely. You can use that as, again, kind of a fog effect.
Don't call it a comeback. Did we put the nails in the coffin for this game too early? Kentaro might have something to say about it. He's just going to play 2
You can play
2s.
3 spells in 1 turn here.
Holy smokes. Now, that was Inferno Jet off the top. Now, Mike doesn't have the mana for it yet. So he's going to go with Ronus' Stalwart and attack with everything.
And Ronus' Stalwart can't be blocked once you exert it. A creature with power 2 or less cannot block.
Which are all of Yamamoto's creatures.
Right. So now Yamamoto can try to set up a block where he gets rid of many of Mike Sigrist's creatures. They can block the bigger creatures and then put a Saving Grace to basically just kind of throw away one of his creatures.
Yeah, probably the Kudu at this point, since it's so small. It's just a 1/2.
So he's currently got 5 power on the board. So he can't take out both. He can't take out both the Harrier Naga and the Snake token. But so I imagine he's going to look to double block the Snake, and then put the Saving Grace and kind of throw away one of his creatures. Waiting for Mike to just order how he wants to block or how he wants to assign the damage. Yeah, but given that the Stalwart and the Naga are going to get in for 6, and then the Snake also getting for 5, any creature that the Saving Grace is put on will die. So I imagine he's probably putting it on the Kudu. I guess he could put it on the Camel if he wants to get a card out of his hand.
And that could be important. He is going to do that.
Yeah.
It makes sense to do either one, either his worst creature or the Camel, which will get him a trigger since he's got that desert on the battlefield.
So Snake down, card down for Mike.
And Mike's going to have to probably just discard Manticore Eternal and try to lean on his finding a couple of lands for his Inferno Jet. Otherwise, he could try to find just a mountain and play the Manticore, which is also lethal.
Right.
With the Afflicted.
Exactly. So he might opt to just discard the Inferno Jet here because he's just 1 land away from the Manticore.
Here's a weird question. If he is going to choose it, would he cycle?
If he was going to choose to discard?
Yeah. If he's going to choose to discard the Inferno Jet, that is.
Okay, all right. Well, okay, so this also makes sense because Kentaro's at 2.
Yeah.
Kentaro's not going to be attacking for a really long time.
Right.
So I think Mike just wants to give himself the 100% out of just being able to get Kentaro.
Stage 1 complete.
There
That's
we go.
a land off the top.
One more land to go.
One more land. Kentaro's a fighter. He's not going to give up.
True forest, not the mountain for the Manticore.
Yeah. He's like, I'm so smart. Playing great. Decimator Beetle. Yamamoto's got to feel like, hey, I've got a pretty good chance here. I was way up against it. He does not know about the Inferno Jet looming, though, in Sigrist's hand.
Yeah, he is playing against red deck, though.
Look at Siggy. He's like, I'm innocent. Nothing going on over here.
What, little old me?
Yeah.
Where is he putting this? He might put it on the Hippo. Just to kind of...
On the Kudu?
No, I was thinking he might put a counter on the Hippo.
Oh, on the Rampaging Hippo.
Right. So he'll have 2 4/5s on the battlefield, which, does a good job of blocking anything on the board.
Definitely. Can Sigrist find a land? No,
Doesn't
not
look
this
like a
draw
land.
step.
But again, Kentaro's far away from attacking.
That's right.
No good attack there. What do we have?
It's a Harrier Naga for
Okay.
Sigrist.
Doesn't do a whole lot.
And he's just going to pass the turn back. And Yamamoto's probably breathing a sigh of relief, but
Yeah.
perhaps shouldn't be.
So let's see. What can he do here? Kentaro can opt to attack and get rid of the Bloodlust Insider to throw away, to make it so that Mike can't haste up a giant creature. But if he did that, Mike would just be able to double block and get rid of the beetle. It would be a 2-for-1, as he will get a Bloodlust Insider plus one of Mike's creatures, which might be something that he's interested in. For example, it's really scary if Mike just plays any creature with Afflict 2 and gives it haste and attacks, because that
That's right.
Kentaro will just die. Yeah.
So he's going to make his Kudu into a 2/3 and take down the Insider for exactly the reasons that you said.
Mike could even opt to just take the damage, but, you know, again, the Decimator Beetle just continues to grind away.
He took it.
Okay.
And here's another big draw set
Right,
for
is it
Sigrist.
real?
It's a land
There
off
it
the
is.
top.
There it
He
is.
found it, and he's just going to say, Inferno Jet you.
Do you have another Saving Grace?
That's right. That's pretty much the only question. And the answer is absolutely not. So that is Mike Sigrist winning this game and forcing a game 3. And I got to say, kind of glad about that part.
Oh, yeah.
All right, I really need to see what's going on with Sam Black and Travis Wu again. I know there's other matches going on. I'll give you updates on those in just a second, but let's pop back in and see what's going on.
What do you think the best card is in Sam's deck? It might just be Manolith.
I can't pick Wrath of God.
I guess you could pick Wrath of God.
I'll pick that one. Oh, man.
One of each land, just a natural.
Look at that. He's got 5 colors on the battlefield right now.
Wow. Well, Travis does have a 4/2 Signwinder Naga because he has a desert on the battlefield. So,
And then a less exciting Sacred Cat
yeah,
alongside it.
That is an interesting card in his deck.
Yeah, I mean, you know, he's got Overcome. He's definitely interested in curving out, so sometimes you'll dip to, oh, that was Wrath of God off the top.
Wow, and Sam's had a very healthy 16 life. So
Yeah, he really is. And
When he has
he's
the
gonna-
combo.
He has the Ramonok Excavator?
Yes.
Oh, my goodness. Looks like he's just going to
All
play a
of the
Desert, though.
dreams.
Desert of the True and pass the turn back. The Excavator is a 2/3,
Yeah.
so that'll do just fine. And he also has the God Pharaoh's Faithful, a card you don't see that often, but certainly looks good in Sam's deck since he's all the other colors anyway.
Right, especially if you're just looking to draft a deck around a card like Wrath of God.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're playing all the colors, that might actually just gain you 4 life over the course of a game.
Chat says Crucible of Worlds plus fetch lands. Which
So Sam Black's just playing Modern? Is
he's
that what
kind of
doing?
playing Modern here, yeah.
And Manolith is like Coalition Relic, more or less.
Yes. Okay, it's a cube deck all of a sudden. That's what's really going on here. You can see that Sam has already played Farm and Market.
Yeah. So Travis does have a couple of cards that are that's incredibly important in the kind of green-white aggressive go-white strategy. He's got the Appeal to Authority, and he has the Overcome. But just not a lot of creatures on the board.
So Travis just used Appeal to get in for a couple of extra damage here
Right.
while the shields were down. That's going to knock Sam down to 10. He just took 6 damage, so
Yeah.
that's no joke.
Sam still has to be feeling pretty safe here.
He's not going to stop hitting land drops as long as that Excavator's still out.
Yeah.
What does Sam have first? Well, one of his first pyramids. He's got 2 Sunset Pyramid at least.
Yeah, he's got a couple of Sunset Pyramids, and it looks like he has a Wrath of God, but no reason to play it here. And he has a Gideon's Defeat in hand, along with Consigned to Authority. So if Travis ever just looks to pull the trigger here, with the Overcome, Sam will have the answer for both of the creatures. So yeah, Sam pretty firmly ahead here, I think.
Sam's at 10. Now, some of the ways that we saw Travis Wu can get in for damage is Overcome.
Yeah.
He also has Authority in his graveyard to maybe clear away some blockers. So Sam is going to have to juggle the possibility that Travis has that. But being green-white, he won't have any way to deal any direct damage.
Right.
It will all be through his creatures. So Sam, with that information in hand, has a lot of wiggle room here.
Absolutely. There's not going to be a crazy haster. There's not going to be an Inferno Jet off the top for the win.
Right. Afflict, not really a thing here either.
Right. And, he does have the tools. Again, Overcome and Appeal to Authority are great finishers for the green-white deck. Travis is just a little bit light on creatures right now.
Well, he's going to help that out with Aronis' Stalwart. But again, at this stage of the game, the type of things that Sam Black can do are so much more powerful than even a good 2-drop like Aronis' Stalwart, and that's going to make life very, very difficult for Travis Wu. Now, the other thing that we should mention here is that Travis is currently our Draft Master leader. And if he doesn't lose, then he can hold on to that. If he does, it opens up the door for both Martin Yuza and formerly Owen Turtenwald, though Owen lost his first round here, so he won't actually be able to come. But Martin Yuza could easily overcome him. So there's a lot on the line here for Travis. Remember, that's a seed of worlds. It's a big deal.
That must just feel so bad. Just having your opponent just playing Evolving Wilds every single turn. Just so much value. And he has all the answers, too.
Chad also reminds us, Paul, that Travis does have one way to get in for damage. Oh, here's Wrath of God. I'll finish up that thought in a minute. He's got Wall of Forgotten Pharaohs, so it doesn't have to be combat damage, though, again, Sam will be aware of that. He saw that last game.
Right.
But as it stands now, oh, boy.
Yeah, Owen's got a couple of pump effects. Does he even have a creature? He's got a Sacred Cat, and that's it?
Well, this is not a great spot here for Travis Wu. Things starting to get a little sketchy for him to hold on to that lead for Draft Master. Sam Black looking to knock him off as he goes through his library, getting land after land out of his library.
Sam's deck is wild.
It is. He went super deep. I can tell you that from our side tables, Jacob Wilson has won his match against Lucas Blahan, and Moraine Libert is up a game over Paulo Vitor Damarosa in their match.
So is Jacob Wilson 2-0?
He is now, yes.
Okay, so he will be playing the winner of the match of Mike Sigrist
and Kentaro Yamamoto.
Right.
We are holding them for a moment. I want to see how these next few turns go from Sam Black. Once we have a really good feeling that... Is that
an Hour of Promise? Does he have 2 deserts to get?
He has to,
He
right?
has to. Come on.
It's Sam Black.
Look, he's even playing the bad ones.
He is. He's playing all the deserts.
Right, he's going to get some zombies here, too.
And that is so effective against Travis Wu's strategy. I mean, let alone his board state, but even in general, just putting out a bunch of blockers.
Wow. This deck.
Yeah. I just want to see what Sam comes up with to actually get the game finished up for him.
Well, he can also just make a 2/2 every turn now at this point, right? With the Cradle of the Curse.
Well,
no, the Raminep Excavator is in the graveyard.
It died.
Right. But he's got the Pyramid. I don't think Sam's too concerned about being able to finish this game.
No, I don't think so either. I just want to see what he actually picked. Like, I'm just curious to see,
right.
Because we do need to see him put out some type of win condition that can for sure finish the game. Otherwise, Travis can just rebuild.
We did see a Greater Sandworm in a previous game, so that's probably something that he's looking to draw. But it looks like
Sam's deck is so sweet. Please say the Greatest Sandworm is like his main finisher.
Yeah.
Just a common. That's what I want. Like no Nicol Bolas.
Yeah.
Okay, well, Travis has found his copy of Overcome. Now, with just the cat token, it doesn't look great, but it gives him a glimmer of hope because if he can draw a couple of creatures over the next few turns, he might be able to set up a turn like we saw earlier where he goes something like Authority plus Overcome and pushes in for a bunch of damage.
Wow. So Travis is going to look to get in for just 2 points of...
Oh, no. Has it come to this?
Wow. Travis just trying to squeeze in as much damage as he can. I will say this, when I first looked at Overcome, I was thinking about kind of an older version of the card that was kind of a slam dunk first pick in Overrun. But Overrun gave +3/+3 in Trample. And I have found that Overcome, while being good, it has underperformed a little bit. I thought it was going to play out a little bit better than it actually ended up being. Just oftentimes you have a lot of creatures trading.
Here's Consigned to Oblivion for Sam Black. And
wow, Sam's hand is loaded.
Let's see if he's going to cast Oblivion here. He is.
Oh, and Travis has multiple copies of Appeal to Authority. Wow.
Yeah, he does. He's already got one exiled and now one in the yard.
All right, zombies for the win.
Yeah, they've got a lot of work to do. But I do kind of just get the feeling like there's no way Sam can lose, right? I mean, he's got Struggle, he's also got Electrify, and now he's going to draw more cards. Like, the best chance that Travis has is that Sam Black somehow just, like, decks himself.
Ooh.
Oh, now here we go. Vizier of the Menagerie.
Did Travis find a creature here? Sam
Negative.
does have the answer in Electrify in his hand. And one thing we didn't mention earlier is just Sam did bounce the Sunset Pyramid just to get more value. That was basically, with all the mana he has, that was kind of like a 5-for-1, right?
This is just the best thing I've ever seen. This is just completely unbelievable.
If any of you likes value, Sam Black is your man.
I'm raising my hand right now.
You're just jealous. I see it in your eyes.
I'm deeply jealous.
I
Look
see
at what
it in your
Sam's
eyes.
doing right now. Plays an Angel of Enduring Hope, and I think I've seen enough here. I don't think there's any way that Travis is going to come back. Why don't we go back to our main match now, Yamamoto versus Sigrist. We'll update you when Sam wins that one, but he is firmly in the lead in that one, and that's going to be a big, big deal for Draft Master.
Yeah, that's a big one. Just can't see Sam losing there.
Same. Okay, so we're back underway. This is game 3. Both of these gentlemen have given us some really exciting stuff. Yamamoto almost pulling the big comeback after a quick start from Sigrist. Does he have Ronus's Last Stand?
Sigrist drew an Exemplar of Strength there.
Oh, man, you know what? He does have Ronus's Last Stand. He just didn't have another forest.
Yeah, and Kentaro kind of has a slow hand here. He doesn't have anything to play on turn 3. He's gonna need to find something.
Wow, so awkward. He just cycled and he drew Saving Grace.
Yeah, he drew Saving Grace. He really needs to find a white source, and he doesn't have a play on turn 3, so that Exemplar of Strength will be able to get in unhindered.
By the way, confirmation, Sam Black just won that match. So we knew that was going to happen, but it has officially happened.
Right.
And that means
So
Draft Master's wide open.
But Mike Sigrist, his hand is loaded, but only 2 lands.
That's right.
Only 2 lands.
So a slow start from Yamamoto, but he may get a reprieve as Sigrist has missed a land drop on turn 3 here and could miss future land drops as well, though you can see why he kept the hand. He has the opportunity, if you drew a forest, to play Ronus's Last Stand, and if not, he's got a nice couple of 2-drops to play here. I mean, these are both premium cards.
Right. He had 2 lands, a 2-drop, multiple 3-drops. You just can't ship that.
Exactly. But it may come back to bite him here if he can't find a land in the next turn or two, especially with Tenacious Hunter from Kentaro Yamamoto brick walling Sigrist's attacks here.
Also, that Tenacious Hunter, again,
Woo!
It's got the death
Land
touch
off the top.
It's got the death touch and the vigilance.
That's right.
As there are counters on the Exemplar of Strength. But I believe there was a Kindle Fury in Mike Sigrist's hand, so I imagine he's just going to attack with both here and exert the Ronus Stalwart.
Yeah, if he has it, he just kind of has to.
The question is Kentaro going to block?
He also did find a land. He found Ramanop Ruins off the top of his library.
Okay.
Yeah, he's not going to let Kentaro know about that just yet.
It is a little bit awkward for his mana, though, because if he casts the Kindle Fury here, he can't really play another threat.
Well, this is great because if Yamamoto doesn't block, then he gets free rolled. If he does, then yeah, he is going to have to effectively take this entire turn to get rid of the Tenacious Hunter, but he just doesn't really have another choice, does he?
Yeah.
It feels like Yamamoto's pretty incentivized to block here.
I mean, yeah, Mike Sigrist clearly representing some kind of a combat trick here. Or it would just be the sickest bluff attack ever. But definitely within his range. And not in mine. I'd be a little too scared.
Yamamoto's trying to figure out, well, what does my board look like next turn? What's my life total? Can I really take this? He took it.
Wow.
This is a big deal for Sigrist because he gets to play a Harrier Noggin now or maybe a Kenra Scrapper. Yeah, there you go. Oh, what a sigh of relief for Mike Sigrist.
Right.
No blocks from Kentaro Yamamoto, though you know it's not good news for you when Kentaro gets to untap, have his mana available, and now either build out his board further or leave it up for a trick of some sort.
But Mike does have an exerted creature on the battlefield. So Kentaro gets a little bit of a reprieve there.
He's going to go with a Gift of Paradise here, it looks like.
Okay. Oh, wow. This is going to be a really big turn from Kentaro.
What are you seeing from Kentaro
You
here?
can play a Gift of Paradise here, then follow that up with a Desert's Hold with a Desert on the battlefield. This is going to gain him a total of 6 life and get a creature off the board.
He didn't do it just yet.
Okay, it looks like he's actually opting to keep up the Saving Grace,
Okay.
which is going to be brutal here if he opts to go for it. Especially because Kentaro knows that Mike very likely has some kind of combat trick here, and Saving Grace really helps to play around that.
He'll still lose his creature, though, if Mike exerts, right?
If Mike exerts, yes.
Because he'll still be attacking for 8.
For 8, yes.
And it'll be a set. In fact, yeah, he does need to exert, though.
Yeah. Desert's Hold might have been a better option there.
Yeah, maybe.
Grace doesn't do anything. I mean, Kentaro could maybe also just opt to offer the trade here with the Exemplar Strength and force Mike to use the combat trick. Then he uses the Saving Grace, and then it's a 2 for 2.
Yeah, I bet you Mike just says sure.
Yeah.
You know, because like it's pretty fishy that Yamamoto
Right.
left up all this mana, or clearly had a lot of mana to use, and decided just to play Gift of Paradise. So if he does go for the block there, and remember, he can't block the Scrapper
Also,
anyway.
Mike drew another land here, so he doesn't really care about. He doesn't really want to use that Kindled Fury. I think he just wants
Yeah.
to play a 4-mana creature.
That hand motion was, I pass priority to you, sir. And that worked out really well for Sigrist, because now he gets to follow up with, let's see what he follows up with, but it could be any number of things. Maybe a Quarry Hauler is his best
Quarry
option.
Hauler makes the most sense.
And that just strands that mana, and now the Saving Grace doesn't have a target at all.
Yeah, I really thought he was going to go for the Desert's Hold in that last turn.
Yeah, that did seem like it would be better.
Is it Hippo time?
Oh, it's blow o'clock.
Blow o'clock.
We did it. And now the
Look,
shields
yeah.
are down. Yeah, now the shields are down for Yamamoto. So this one's anybody's ball game at this point. Another
Yamamoto-
land off the top, by the way, for Sigrist, Paul.
That is great, and Sigrist has a fantastic card. He's got Samet.
Let's take a look at his hand and see what he's got going on. Oh,
Dissent.
Samut, Voice of Dissent. Has to be said, she's the better of the two Samuts, right?
Right.
Like, she passed the test, but
she ignited her spark, became a planeswalker, then got worse.
that's not common. But he could play
he
Samut
going
and
to
just
go for
offer
it
the
again?
trade here.
Yeah, so if he plays a Samut, attacks with everything.
Which he certainly would want to do because Kentaro's so incentivized to block Samut.
Yeah, so if Kentaro opts to just, let's say, eat the Quarry Hauler here, he will take 9 damage as Mike Sigrist will exert the Ronus of Stalwart. That'll put Kentaro down to 2, and Mike Sigrist has a Ramming Up Ruins in play. So all he needs to do is play a Mountain to get in for the last 2 points of damage. So this really puts Kentaro in a tricky spot.
He just
Wow,
can't.
he's going to go down to 2 life here.
He is, but that means he must then untap and cast Desert's Hold on Samut. Now
read that one again. There's a lot of text.
Right, and the downside for Kentaro here is that Desert's Hold leaves Samut on the battlefield so that the other creatures you control have haste clause
Right.
still stays in effect, which is, look, I mean, you do what you got to do, but that's annoying.
Yeah. Oh, and the Ronus of Stalwart actually was not exerted.
Not exerted. Okay, so he's actually at 3 and going to go to 6, but that's not a great life total to be at when you know your opponent has Inferno Jet in their deck. Now, as it turns out, Sigrist doesn't actually have it in his hand just yet, but
All right, so he's got to play the Desert's Hold here.
and that's going to put him up to 6.
But now he won't have the ability to cast the Saving Grace.
That's right. He's just going to play Oasis Ritualist and assume he's not going to die this turn. Which is a fairly safe assumption. What was Mike hoping to rip there?
Wow, he drew Manticore of the Gauntlet. That's going to put Kentaro down to 3 life.
Oh, boy.
And it's got haste?
It does have haste.
Is this lethal?
And he can also put the counter on Samut, so it's a 5-powered haste creature.
This is lethal. Kentaro can only block 2 of these creatures. And
You're right,
all of
and
them
they're
have
all
3
lethal.
power.
And they're all lethal, so that's Mike
Wow.
Sigrist defeating Kentaro Yamamoto. Boy, that was a quick swing in Mike Sigrist's direction there. His deck looked pretty impressive with
Yeah.
those 2 mythics up top. Really, really nice stuff from Sigrist. And he's going to win that match 2 games to 1.
Yeah, Kentaro got really punished there. Just he'd had a bit of a slow start, and I think possibly a miscue with the saving grace.
Could absolutely be the case. We got one more match to go in our feature match area. This is Moraine Leibert versus Paulo Vitor Dama de Rosa. Okay, they've got about 6 minutes left on their clock, just straight up. They had a pretty drawn-out game one, which is fortunate for us because it means we get to pop in and see them.
So Paulo getting in here. Creatures are much beefier, and he's sitting at a pretty comfortable life total here too. Moraine looks a little bit flooded.
Moraine is a four-time Pro Tour Top 8 competitor.
Yes.
You don't see him out as often these days. He recently started a family back home in Belgium. So if you've more recently started watching Pro Tour coverage, you may not have seen him playing. You've seen him in the booth,
Absolutely.
of course, at the European GPs. But Moraine has a very solid Pro Tour resume. 4 top 8s is no joke.
Yeah.
Now Paulo has a few more.
Yeah.
Paulo's got 11. He's actually got the second most all time.
Yeah. It is. He averages basically a top 8, almost a top 8 a season. It's just insanity. Look at those numbers. Just wow.
It looks like typos, but 11 top 8s out of 52 played.
Yeah.
And of course, there's always your first PT where you don't really know how it all works, and you're kind of nervous.
He was just winning right off the gate.
Yeah, he did not waste any time whatsoever.
All right, Warfire Javelinier off the top for Moraine. And it looks like we're just in
Are we
full-on race
racing?
mode here.
All right.
Yeah. Really very, very even here.
It's even. Yeah, one of these players looking to make a huge play to swing this game in their favor. This is game 3, and you can see the clock is ticking as well.
A nice little combination there with the Kenner Scrapper and the Pathmaker Initiate. You can make it unblockable, then exert it to get in for 4 unblockable damage.
Yeah, that is a big hit.
And Paulo is down to 10. He might have an... What if he has an Inferno Jet? That's just the game.
Inferno Jet is a premium card in the blue-red deck. It's one you really, really want to have.
Yeah, it's really interesting kind of what the blue-red deck looks like in the current version. It's not kind of your traditional control deck anymore. It's
not
actually,
at all.
It's actually kind of more of a tempo deck. You're looking to attack. All your 2-drops are very aggressive. You want to just take cards like Unsummon very highly and just whittle your opponent's life total down. Alrighty.
Let's see what Moraine pulls off the top of his library here. It was another land Cascading Cataracts. I'm sorry, Paul. Don't look at it.
Oh, no.
Don't look at it, Paul.
Please, no, not again. Not like this.
That card has haunted Paul Gian. We'll have to tell that story at some point. But yeah.
Why?
or maybe we just don't.
No.
We'll give you a round off here.
Yeah. So Moraine, not with a lot of options here. It looks like he can just get in, maybe get in for 2 unblockable points of damage. But definitely being outraced.
Yeah, that striped Riverwinder's just straight up bigger than anything on the battlefield here and presents a major issue for Moraine.
Yeah. Even the double Oasis Ritualists are just bigger than anything on the board.
Right. Moraine does have evasion through his Pathmaker Initiate, but it's not quite enough. And these players are going to have to pick up the pace here if they're going to finish.
Ooh.
He's got Consign here. He's casting it. It looks like on one of the Oasis Ritualists. Of course, the Riverwinder has hexproof.
He can aftermath it with the Cascading Cataracts.
You're right. Weird.
Yeah.
But kind of cool.
Right. While Paulo's hand is stacked, I believe that's an Ambuscade in his hand.
Let's take a look. Yeah. You're right.
So he's got an Ambuscade.
Oh, boy, and a lane claim.
Right. And with an active Oasis Ritualist. So,
Wow, he's even got a haze of pollen here, which
right.
could be really important since it is looking like Moraine's trying his hardest to race.
Wow.
And so that was Ambuscade. Remember, Paulo used his Oasis Ritualist. He used the Exert ability to make 2 mana
Paulo being really aggressive
before it
here.
went away.
But not a whole lot that Moraine can have, as, of course, the Winder that has Hexproof.
Okay, well, a Desert Ceradon's a nice start here for Liber.
Is that a Desert or Gilded Ceradon?
Excuse me, Gilded Ceradon, thank you.
We got a late claim here as well. Paulo just not a lot of time left on the clock here.
Yeah, and you see Moraine just immediately sort of throws it over to the other side of the table. I think he knew that was coming, and this is Paulo Vitor Domidarosa closing in on the win here against Moraine Liber. We may not need those extra turns after all.
Moraine needs a big draw.
Yeah.
That's not going to do it.
Nothing for Moraine Liber. He's down to 5. He's sort of looking through his graveyard because he wants to cast Oblivion.
Which not really going to matter here.
No, it's the board that's the problem, not the cards in hand for Moraine or either player.
Does Paul have a desert anywhere? That's a Sheltered Thicket, which is not a desert.
That is not a desert, but he has a big board, and that's going to do it.
Wow.
Paulo Vitor Domidarosa wins the match 2-1, and that will conclude things here in round number 2. And oh boy, man, this format, we covered the GP here in Kyoto last weekend, and it just felt like every round had fireworks going, and it feels like that just starting off the Pro Tour as well. Maybe it's just something about the format, or maybe we've just gotten lucky, but it just seems to produce games that are really intriguing and have these kind of big finishes too.
Yeah, there's a lot of crazy things you can do. Again, we've seen, aggressive decks like Mike Sigrist just be able to pummel his opponents. At the same time, we've seen these kind of slower control decks by Sam Black and Paulo Vitor also get there. So really, really enjoying this draft format so far.
That's right. Well, a lot of revelations coming out of that last round with Travis Wu losing and maybe opening up the door for Draft Master. We've got a lot of updates and more at the news desk, but first, these messages.
You know, it really doesn't matter what cards they put in the booster packs. Sam Black is still your guarantee of drafting entertainment. What is that deck about? Here's an idea. Let's find out. Sam Black is with BDM.
Thanks, Rich. I'm here with Sam Black. I had to pry him away from the congratulatory backslaps of Martin Yuza. You just beat Travis Wu, handing him the lead in the Draft Master. But what I really want to talk about is this crazy deck. Tell me what you were trying to do as you drafted this thing.
Well, I mean, I was just trying to draft. So, like, I opened Struggle to Survive and Dream Stealer, and I don't like black in this format. I think, like, the commons are all really weak. So I took Struggle over it. I think they're similar power level anyway, so it was a spot where I was happy going with my color bias. And then I second picked Bloodwater Entity, and I think that, like, blue-red spells like aggro prowess is one of the best decks. And I was like, all right, perfect, good start on just, like, drafting blue-red beatdown. And then in the third pack, the best red or blue card was the Red Desert, and there was an Hour of Promise in the pack. And I'm like, well, Hour of Promise is a really powerful card. I could still be like blue-red aggro. I'm giving up a desert, which is like kind of good but not super important. And I give myself like options on flexing into another archetype that I like, which is like 5-color green. And my first 2 picks are also good there. So I'll speculate on the Hour of Promise but not be committed to it and see what happens. So then in the 4th pack, I get past Green Desert and Aerial Guide. And I'm like, all right, moment of truth. Like, if I'm going to draft Hour of Promise, I have to take, like, every desert I can reasonably take. And, like, Aerial Guide's not going to be a good card if I'm, like, a ramp deck. But it's pretty good if I'm blue-red spells. But I don't actually think it's, like, one of the most essential cards in that archetype, because red has a lot of 3-drops that are specifically good in only that archetype. Like, you can get late pick Thorned Molochs, which I actually prefer to Aerial Guide in that archetype, because evasion's not very important because you're removing their blockers and have tricks and stuff. And so I was like, all right, based on, like, not seeing anything for my deck in the previous pack and getting past Hour of Promise 3rd, which I think is a really powerful spell if you're into this archetype, I think that this is more likely to be open than blue-red spells. I should just take the desert here.
Let me ask you a question about Hour of Promise. For it to be at its maximum effectiveness, you have to have 3 deserts in play when it resolves to get 2 zombie tokens.
You need 1 when you cast it. So for it to be, like, really good in your deck, you want enough deserts that you'll probably have 1 in play. And so I think basically I don't want that card in my deck if I have only 3 deserts. It's like, for one thing, if you cycle 1, then you can never resolve it. And so, but I think that if you have 4, you're, like, likely enough to find one, and it's such a powerful effect if you, like, are using the ramp and if you get the zombies. So I think I would play it with 4, but you're really looking to have as many as you can have when you cast it, because, like, the more deserts you have in play, the more flexibility you have on, like, fixing your colors with it and stuff, and you just really want it to reliably give you 2 zombies on turn 5.
Card I'm really interested in is Ramanap Excavator. Where did you pick that card?
So that was the card that I opened in the 2nd pack, and I took it over Ipnu Rivulet, which I actually would have really liked in my deck because it's a powerful finisher to find with Hour of Promise, and at that point I had, like, a lot of removal, but I didn't have, like, a big bomb that I could count on to win the game. And so I was thinking, well, maybe what I need to be able to do is just get this and a bunch of other deserts and mill my opponent out after, like, killing their stuff. And I had, like, a Sunset Pyramid, and I'm like, I can play, like, card advantage control game, but what if I just, like, run out of ways to kill them and deck myself? But I mean, I had Struggle, so I'm, like, not that likely to deck myself, so it wasn't that big of a concern. But it was like, I would like a way to reliably kill someone. But also, Excavator is a card with a really high ceiling, and I knew I was going to be prioritizing deserts because of Hour of Promise. And in the 3rd pack, there's Evolving Wilds, Grasping Dunes, and Cradle of the Accursed that you can get that let you play a land every single turn with Excavator. And as it happened, I ended up getting all of them and playing all of them.
So if you count the black for Consign, you're really playing a 6-color green deck here.
If you pretend that I need the colorless mana. I do have cards that tap for colorless mana in my deck, yes.
All right, Sam Black, 2-0 so far in this draft here for Team Mutiny at Pro Tour Hour of Devastation, sending it back to Rich and Maria at the desk.
That is so cool. Thanks so much, BDM. A masterclass on how to draft ValueTown.deck. Well, Rich, tell me about Martin Yuza.
He's very good at Magic, and he won at Magic. That means he leads the draft master master by 1 point. He's one half a round, if you like. It's technically 2 points, but it's half a round ahead of Travis Wu. So Fredrik Skouen was his opponent from Norway, trying to make the Norwegian World Magic Cup captaincy. Didn't get there. User 2-0, and now he leads the Draft Master competition.
Yeah, and it's really interesting because Martin Yuza actually beat Travis Wu at the last Pro Tour, and that is what is making all of the difference
They
right
would
now.
literally be swapped right now if it hadn't been for that head-to-head in, I think it was the 11th
Yes.
round of draft, as it were. Fantastic stuff. Okay, there we go.
All right, well, let's take a look at another draft with Lucas Blohan over at our video wall with our own Luis Scott Vargas.